It started like a scene out of a movie, but it was real life. The courthouse steps were jammed shoulder to shoulder, banners up in the air, people chanting like their voices could crack the stone walls. I could hear justice for Naya rolling over the crowd like a wave. The night before, a grainy phone video had blown up across the internet, a cop punching a young black woman at a supermarket checkout. By sunrise, the story had moved from whispers to headline news, and by mid-morning, this sleepy courthouse looked like the center of the world. When she walked in, the whole place went quiet. Naya Coleman, dark blue suit, high-collared, white shirt, bruises blooming purple across her cheekbones, moved like somebody who'd decided shame wasn't an option. She didn't flinch under the cameras. She just sat down next to her attorney, her back straight, eyes steady. Across the aisle sat Officer Brent Kessler and rookie cop Ryan Duke, both of them pale as paper. The judge's gavel cracked 3 times and called the emergency hearing to order. But you could feel everybody holding their breath, waiting for the truth to come out. And then, like in a slow dissolve, we were back at the supermarket the afternoon before. Naya had been living under the radar for years, despite the big title she held. She'd grown up on the south side of Jackson, Mississippi, in a neighborhood where semis rattled the windows, and cops treated every kid in a hoodie like a suspect. Her dad was a sanitation worker. Her mom worked double shifts at a diner. That kind of childhood will either break you or make you steal. Naya chose steal. She crushed school, got a full ride to college, and then instead of law school, she went into federal service. 20 years later, she was the FBI's Mid-South Division Chief, one of the only black women in the country to hold a job like that. But she still drove her own SUV, still liked to pick out her niece's birthday gifts herself. That day, she'd gone to a supermart on the edge of town. She wore jeans, a faded green bomber hair, pulled back, looked like any other customer. She filled her cart with cake mix, a Lego set, some sodas, and a couple spices she liked to cook with. While she scanned her items at self-checkout, she felt for once like she'd escaped the weight of her office. But in a back room, a security guard squinted at the screen and whispered, "She's acting sneaky." Another guard shrugged. "Better tell the manager." The rumor rolled downhill like it always does, and the color of her skin did the rest. Brent Kessler was sitting in his cruiser a few blocks away when the call came over the radio. Mid-40s ex-football player, chip on his shoulder since the knee injury. He'd been warned for racial profiling more times than he could count, but always skated by. Sitting next to him, Ryan Duke was 23, fresh from the academy, still calling Brent sir like a Marine. Ryan had never seen real pushback. He was about to. They rolled up fast lights, but no siren. Inside, Naya folded her receipt and tucked it into her bag, thinking about her niece's smile tomorrow. She didn't notice the 2 men until she heard the voice. "Hey, open your bags. Let me see." Naya looked up, blinking. "I paid. Here's the receipt." She held it out like a peace offering. Brent didn't even glance. "Fake bills are easy. Open the bag now." Ryan shifted uneasily. She's got a receipt, Brent." Brent cut him off with a growl. "Trust me, my instincts are never wrong." Around them, people's slowed phones came out. The air thickened. Nia's voice stayed calm. "If you want to check, ask the store security. I'm not handing my bag over without cause." Brent stepped closer, his shadow spilling over her. "You think you're smarter than me? 20 years on the force, I know a thief when I see one." Naya's hand tightened on the bag strap. Her heart pounded, but she wasn't 12 anymore. She'd spent her life training for moments like this. "I'm not a thief, and you don't have a warrant." A woman in the next lane whispered to her husband. "She paid." "I saw it." Another young man started filming openly. Brent snapped, "Turn that off. This is police business." The kid said, "This is public. We're allowed to record." Brent's face reddened. He hissed low but loud enough to carry, "You're gonna regret this. Last chance." Naya lifted her chin, voice stronger now. "I've done nothing wrong. I'm a citizen. I have rights," the crowd murmured. "Yeah, leave her alone," someone shouted. Brent bared his teeth. "Fine, you want hardball?" His fist came up so fast, even Ryan flinched. The punch cracked against Naya's face like a gunshot. She staggered, glasses flying blood at the corner of her mouth. Gasps ripped through the store. Naya pushed herself up off the tile, dizzy but upright. The world blurred, but she held his gaze. He yanked her arms behind her metal cuffs, clamping shut with a cold click. Under arrest for resisting and assaulting an officer, Brent barked. The crowd erupted. She paid. We saw it, an old lady cried out. Shame on you. Ryan stepped between them, one hand hovering over his gun, voice trembling. Everybody back up. Don't interfere. Brent dragged Naya out through the automatic doors, shoving her into the back of the cruiser. The phones outside caught every second the blue lights flashing off her bruised face. By the time they hit the station, the videos had exploded online. Hashtags, live streams, protesters forming outside the supermarket. Within an hour, national outlets were on it. By midnight, the courthouse steps were full of people banging drums, chanting, "No justice, no peace." Inside the interrogation room, Brent scribbled on his report like a man on autopilot. Suspect resisted, attempted assault, unconfirmed theft. Ryan sat in the corner, eyes glued to the floor, every word a nail in his conscience. Across from them, Nia sat cuffed to a steel chair, blood drying on her lip, eyes bright as glass. Write what you want, she said quietly, but the truth won't disappear. Brent snorted. Naive. You think some cell phone videos are going to save you? The door opened. A middle-aged officer stepped in and froze. Oh my God, Director Coleman. Brent's eyes narrowed. What did you say? The officer cleared his throat. She taught my federal training seminar last year. She's FBI. Naya gave a faint smile, a warning in her eyes. Keep quiet for now. Brent barked, get out. This is none of your business. When the door closed, Naya said softly, by law, I get a phone call. Brent hesitated, then shoved the phone toward her. She dialed a long number. Steady fingers, steady breath. This is Director Naya Coleman, Mid-South FBI, she said into the receiver. I'm being held without warrant at Hill County Sheriff's Office. Send legal representation immediately. Notify the DOJ. Brent's jaw slackened. Ryan's stomach dropped. By dawn, the fax machine at the courthouse was spitting out orders with bright red seals. Public emergency hearing. All evidence to be presented immediately. Temporary detention supervised by a judge. And so here we were packed, courtroom judge on the bench, protesters at the doors, cameras rolling. The prosecutor played the supermarket footage on a giant screen. Brent's voice, Brent's punch, Nia's blood. The room erupted. Witnesses lined up, the elderly woman with her cane, the college student with the original clip, the store clerk with the internal camera files. Each testimony cracked another brick in Brent's wall of lies. Then Officer Daniels, the one who'd recognized her, stood and swore under oath. I heard racial slurs. I saw no theft, no resistance. Everything in Officer Kessler's report is false. And for the record, the woman he assaulted is FBI Director Naya Coleman. You could have heard a pin drop. Cameras flashed like fireworks. Naya rose slowly. I'm not here as a victim, she said. I'm here as a citizen. If this can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. No one should be treated like a criminal because of the color of their skin. The room stayed quiet for a heartbeat, then applause rolled through like thunder. Brent exploded, slamming his hand on the table. They always play to the victim. They always, the judge snapped. One more word and you'll be detained on the spot. Ryan's hands shook. All the pressure, all the lies, he couldn't carry it anymore. Your Honor. His voice cracked but carried across the room. I can't keep quiet. She paid. She cooperated. That punch was unprovoked. Reporters' keyboards clattered like hail. The prosecutor smiled grimly. The balance had tipped. By the end of the hearing, the judge announced charges. Officer Kessler indicted for assault, perjury, abuse of power. Officer Duke suspended pending investigation. The courtroom erupted, cheers, sobs, relief. Outside, protesters hugged each other, under the sunlight, chanting justice for Naya until their voices went hoarse. Later that afternoon, Supermart's CEO held a press conference promising anti-bias training and apologizing publicly. Naya, back home with her mom and brother, sat at the kitchen table, bruised but unbowed. Her mom squeezed her hand. You've made me heartbroken and proud all at once, she said. Nia just whispered, I don't want anyone else to go through this again. Not here. Not anywhere. The story didn't end there. A week later, the evening news led with Officer Kessler, formally indicted rookie cop, cooperating. Naya's TV interview went viral when she said, I'm not looking to be an icon. I just want every kid who walks into a store to be seen as a person, not a threat. And that's where I'll leave you with a question. If this can happen to someone with a badge, How safe are the rest of us? What would you have done if you'd been there, filmed, testified, marched, or turned away? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me what justice looks like, where you live, what you've seen, what you've endured, because stories like this don't change anything unless people speak. Justice isn't a destination, it's a journey we have to walk together.